Good morning, teacher and classmates. My name is Marta Alvarez. Today I'm going to talk about the Metamorphosis works by Franz Kafka. This book is one of the author's most famous novellas. It's important to note that Kafka was one of the most influential fiction writers of universal literature, novelist and story writer, whose works, only after his death, was considered one of the main achievements of 20th century literature. Happily for us, today we can enjoy your books. Getting the book in English in bookstore in my city was difficult, so I had to download it online. I used the recommendation given by my dear teacher Mauricio, where it was reliable to download the book. The first time I read the book was in Spanish when I was in a high school, so I can say that this book is interesting, but later tell you why. Now I'm going to talk about a little about the author. Franz Kafka was born on July 3, 1883, Prague, Czech Republic, and died on June 3, 1924, in Kerlich, Austria. He died when he was 41 years old. He was the oldest of 6 siblings. In his childhood was affected. First, he was taken care of by maid. Also, he had a difficult relationship with his father because he had a dominant and authoritarian character. In addition, his father never loved him because he saw in his son a person too weak. On the other hand, his father wanted he take care of family business. However, Kafka didn't want. He dreamed to be a writer, but the parents were reluctant to this type of artistic activities. Finally, Kafka studied law in 1906, receiving the title of Doctor of Law, although he never made use of this title. As a result of this situation, Kafka was immersed in a deep loneliness. He felt misunderstood and led him to be an insecure, inconscious person and become self-absorbed. The historical and cultural context of metamorphosis, we can find a society that was going through several changes due to industrialization, overpopulation, and the First World War, which caused mass violence and chaos in the society, as well as the economic crisis, particularly in the current Czech Republic, where Kafka is from. On the other hand, the submission of the pressure of capitalism, where people and companies were interested only in getting money and prioritizing their own needs over social needs, in addition to the lack of sensitivity of the pain of other creating a crisis of values moral, leading to the moral destruction of people, making them competitive but inhuman. Therefore, as a result of all these personal and social conflicts and situations of the time, where everything seems hostile and incomprehensible, influenced Kafka's thoughts, making him reflect, especially reflecting in the metamorphosis as a form of reproach and indignation. This story begins with Gregorio Samson, who woke up one morning and discovered that he was a horrible giant insect. But at first then, he didn't worry him because he thought that he went back to sleep, he will wake up again, like a normal person. But that didn't happen. For him, the most important thing was his work and his family because they depend on him. Realizing that he really was an insect, understood that he should learn to manage his new physical appearance. In addition, Gregorio's boss came to the house because he didn't go to work, and he began to speak badly of him and catalogizing a lazy person without understanding that Gregorio was struggling to go to work. When his family seen him in that state, they isolate him, leaving him in the room. His sister, Greta, was the only person who took care of him and gave him food. They didn't allow the mother to approach for fear of the impression that Gregory could cause her and the father ignored the situation. On the other hand, the family's concern about who will bring the money to the house begins because who was worried about the economic part was Gregorio, since his father had to leave his business. The true transformation of Gregorio began due to the need to sleep under the sofa, to eat roti food, the continuous isolation, and the need to have a room-free object to move without problem. And this at first Gregorio was happy with the idea. But at the end, he realized that he was losing his sense of being human, that he was dehumanizing, that he was no longer the same person who once was. In addition to this, the family, motivated by the need to get money for household expenses, the father, the mother, and his sister were forced to work tirelessly, increasing the isolation and abandonment of Gregorio because they had no time to his care, leaving him at the mercy of the assistant, an incomprehensible person in the face of Gregorio's situation. At this point of this story, everything changed radically. Gregorio discovered that this family were in decline because the things weren't as before, and this depressed him even more. Gregorio understood that it was better to disappear, meditated, and taking everything with absolute calm, despite the exhaustion of all events. The infected wound caused by his father, the weakness because he hadn't eaten for days, and without making giver resistance, he gave a slight sign and died. The family, relieved, moved out of the house and began a new life without Gregorio. In conclusion, this story is not simply about a man who transformed into a horrible giant insect, but about a family whose interaction resolved around the selfishness that categorized modern European society. Sansa family's attitude toward Gregorio's situation reflects precisely the lack of emphasis caused by the prioritization of superficial matters, such as wealth and prestige, the common denominator of that society in which poverty was so devastating. Also, that metamorphosis suggests a situation where more the individual suffered, detached, dehumanized, and reflected by others, such as Gregorio, disconnected from the surrounding, isolated, and plugged into misery. My reflection about this story, I can say that these situations were not only from that time or from European communities, but it's a feeling that still overwhelms our current society, presenting rupture of family and social links. Among them, we can point out the authoritarianism of companies, governments, families, the coldness and indifference of society, indulgence and monotony in what we do to fulfill our dreams, family responsibilities, and family depend, intolerance, loneliness, hopelessness, sadness, depression, low self-esteem, reflection of life, all this leading to the deshumanization of people in the face of a modern, insensitive, pragmatic, and utilitarian society, and where there is no place for love and tolerance. Thus, we see families in our society destroyed and falling down in depression every day, leading them to suicide because they felt like weird books, the same how Gregorio Sansa felt. Because of parents and children, they felt alone and with too many responsibilities, lacking understanding, dialogue, good in their life, which for me is essential in the families, and many values that have been lost in our families. In most cases, the lack of time has been a factor that has led families to destruction. Nobody has time for everyone. You have to work to get the money to survive. This significantly affect families, especially children who feel like we're bad. Thank you very much. See you next time.